Hello, welcome. Oh, Jesus. I'm doing predictions again. I'm predicting the Premier League again. 2 game weeks in. It's a bit late, but fucking. I always end up doing them late anyway, so who cares? Let's get into this shit. I've written it down. I've got Southampton in dead last because they're terrible. Southampton look god awful. They haven't bought anyone that looks like they're going to help in any way. No, no, they're done out. Southampton are finished. 19th, I've got Ipswich. I think they'll be slightly better than Southampton because it's the first time in the Prem for quite a while. They really want to fight for it, but they're also still shit. So they're going down, and they really are just fucked. My hair is done out. It always is in every video I ever do. Jesus, fuck it. 18th, I've got Everton. This one is influenced by the first 2 games because they've looked fucking terrible. Spurs smashed them 4-0. They lost the first game as well to Brighton. They got smashed 3-0. I mean, they look awful. They look terrible. Didn't get a replacement for Onana, or at least haven't yet. It's not looking good for Everton. I think this might be the time that they do finally go down. And them going down gives the 17th spot to Leicester, who I don't know if they get that points deduction, then I think swap these two around. But as of right now, they haven't got it. Leicester look okay. They did all right against Spurs. Didn't do great against Fulham today, but I think they'll probably get enough to stay up. As well as 16th place Forest, which, Jesus, Nottingham Forest have been fucking riding their luck for a couple of years now. Forest are terrible. But they've got enough quality surrounded by garbage that they're probably just about to stay up. And then there's a bit of a gap in points here, I think, up to 15th, where I have Brentford, who also haven't looked that great early on. It's just, I reckon they're not going to do too well this year. If they lose Tony, I mean, I watched Brentford Liverpool today, and Buemo was fucking terrible. I don't watch that much of Brentford, so this is the first full game in at least a solid while that I've seen Buemo play. And if he's the guy that they're going with, oh boy, they are fucked. He is shit. Then Wolves just above them. Wolves are an okay side, but I think they get unlucky, Wolves, basically, and I think they end up in 14th. It happens a lot to them. 13th, I've got Bournemouth, who've looked okay-ish early on. I think Iraola's a decent manager. Yeah, I mean, just mid-table. This is all the mid-table bullshit that you've basically got no chance of predicting. But hey, I might end up with all of them right and look like a fucking genius, so you might as well try. We've got Palace in 12th. Crystal Palace have looked terrible. Oh, mate, they've not... fuck me. Lost both games. It just looked bad, Palace. They will get better, obviously. But, I mean, if I did this 2 weeks ago, I'd probably have Palace in 10th or 9th. But 12th at the moment. I've got 11th for Fulham. Looked okay again. Fulham have always been a pretty decent team. They have lost João Palhinha. But I think they were getting ready to lose him since that Bayern move fell through the first time. So they're probably pretty ready for it. They bought in Smith Rowe. He's going to be a good player for them because he is a good player. Arsenal just... I don't know what the fuck's wrong with Arteta. Just not playing him and playing fucking Reece Nelson. He plays Reece Nelson and he sold Smith Rowe. Okay. Anyway. 10th place, I've got West Ham. Nice signings. I like the signings for West Ham. I like Wan-Bissaka. I like Füllkrug. I think Füllkrug could be the guy to get them a lot of goals, but they still haven't really... I mean, Edson Alvarez is okay, but they've still got that massive hole from where Rice was, and they haven't fixed it really properly yet. So 10th, bang in the middle. I've got Brighton in 9th. Young as fuck manager. This dude is 10 years older than me. That's terrifying. I don't like it. But he's pretty good at his job by the looks of things, and Brighton are a pretty decent team. So it's probably going to come 9th. That's basically all I've got. I've got Villa in 8th. Obviously in the Champions League this year, which I think means they're going to have a pretty naff start to the season. A lot of Like Newcastle dropped off last year because they had more games to play. They got injuries. They had they were pretty shit at the start of the season. They started getting better again. They started getting better again towards the end, when they started getting players back. But I think it's just going to be the same thing for Villa this year, and they're going to end up 8th. I've got Man United 7th, which is bold, because I think a lot of people will put them to put 5th or 6th. But United is just terrible. They're a rubbish team, man. They're not good. Ten Hag tries too hard to be a genius, and he isn't. Less than that, I thought it was. Ten Hag tries too hard to be like a complete tactical genius, and he's fucking not, right? Like, he started that game against Brighton. It took him until 60 minutes to put his striker on. He started it without a striker. He had Bruno Fernandes up there. What's he doing? Put Xerxes on. He scored on debut. And you didn't play him in the next game. You played a central midfielder as in the striker position instead of him. Genius, right? Ten Hag is not as good as people think he is. Mazraoui's okay. De Ligt, a bit too early to tell, but he could either be one of the best in the league or shit. There's literally no in between. He's not going to be like, oh, he's good. He's either going to be the best or terrible. And I'm leaning towards terrible because, I mean, he's done that twice now. So, I mean, I still think they're going to have defensive problems. Rashford's still terrible. Garnacho's had a bad start to the year, but he'll probably pick it up. I mean, Højlund and Xerxes, who knows? Xerxes looks all right. Højlund is... they paid too much for him, I'll just say that. So 7th for United. I've got Newcastle in 6th, which is possibly too high, but I mean, they'll get Tonali back soonish, I think, as long as he's stopped betting. Unlikely, but they will get him back soonish. Did he ever even make his debut for Newcastle? Did he get banned before that? I have no idea. But he is a decent player. He'll come back. They'll have a very good midfield. And I think they do sneak their way into 6th. I think it's very close between Newcastle and United. And then I've got Chelsea 5th, which is, I mean, I'm not biased, I promise. I've said it for a couple of weeks now, maybe a month, of Chelsea have probably one of the best attacks in the whole league. But our defence is full of absolute morons. Like, they are fucking terrible. We have 7 centre-backs, and they're all shit. They're all awful. Gusto's had a bad start to the year, but he is a good player. Reece James is a great player, but he's made of string cheese. Marc Cucurella is off and on. He could end up just going back to being terrible again. I have literally no idea. And then, I mean, Jesus, the centre-backs. Fofana, okay, but he's injured more often than not. Colwill hasn't got any better since we got him back from Brighton. Disasi is a disaster. Funny. Badiashile is fucking terrible. I mean, Jesus Christ. Speaking of terrible, actually, let me go back. The reason also I want to say about Ipswich quickly, 19th. Muric is the worst goalkeeper I've ever seen. That guy costs his team a goal every 2 games. Anyway, yeah, Badiashile, he's terrible. He's fucking awful. And then, who even is the other one? Who's the other one? Chalobah, but we're going to sell him. So right now, our defence looks full of fucking Make-A-Wish kids that are getting paid way too much money. They're all terrible. But we can score. Jackson will probably get 10 goals. Palmer's getting back into it. Madueke is inconsistent but could work. Eventually, over time, he could prove to be really good. João Felix, I love the signing of. I also love the signing of Pedro Neto. Mudryk, no comment. He is... when I tell you I'm better on the wing than Mudryk, and I smoke, right, he's bad. He's terrible. So we won't be seeing him too much for very long, I don't think. And I think we end up 5th. I think we end up winning games 3-2 and 4-3 and 6-2 like we did over Wolves. Like, we looked terrible defensively in that first half, but it didn't matter because we scored fucking 6 goals. I think that's Maresca's general strategy, and I think it will work. And I think it'll end up getting us 5th, which I'll take. I'll take 5th. 5th in like a Carabao Cup or like an FA Cup. Because we are a cup team. We have been for a long time now. 4th place, I've got Liverpool. Which, I mean, Arne Slot's got them playing. They are playing well. But I just don't know. I don't think they're going to be... They're obviously not going to be as good as they were under Klopp. At least not in this first season. Maybe eventually Slot has them even better than they were. But in this first season, I just don't think so. They've still got... I mean, they've got depth in the attacking positions, but that depth is terrible. Like, Nunes is rubbish, Gakpo's stunningly inconsistent, Harvey Elliott is terrible. So there's no one to come on for Salah. Diaz goes off for Nunes, great, and then Jota goes off for Gakpo. Like, all the goals are gone. Your goals disappear. If Van Dijk starts dropping off, then Konate's going to start struggling, because Konate's okay, but he looks way better next to someone good. And if Van Dijk starts being shit, then Konate's going to start looking shit as well, because he has no one there to hold his hand, if you know what I mean. So I think they drop off from third, and I think they come fourth, because I think third place goes to Spurs, which I'm not happy about. But I mean, they're cooking, aren't they, really? They've been oh, mate. Ange I don't know what he does, but he sort of has them moving. And if Dominic Solanke can actually hit the ground running and start bagging goals, they could be a very dangerous team. This Spurs team, last season, that Spurs team needed not Richarlison. If Kane was in that Spurs team last year, they would have contended for the title. I promise you that. Because the amount of fucking chances Richarlison missed by either just being shit or not being in the right position were crazy. Like, he could have had 30 goals last year if he wasn't terrible. But he didn't. So if Solanke can even get, like, 18, 19 again, Spurs could be a dangerous fucking team. I really could. I like the signing of Odegaard. Obviously, it's to, sort of slowly start phasing out Heung-min Son, which I think is a good move, because he's a good player, Odegaard. And I think Spurs come third this year. But then I do still think there's a considerable gulf of about 6 or 7 points to second place, which is Arsenal again. Because they're not going to win the league. Stop. Just please stop pretending they're going to win They're not. I just can't. There is one way Arsenal win the league this year, and that's if Man City actually get a massive points deduction. And if they do, then everyone's going to be fucking wrong about who wins the league. Because everyone's put City first or second. If they get a big points deduction, they get relegated, then we're all fucked. So, come on, man. I think Arsenal comes second. If the points penalty doesn't happen, Arsenal comes second. And the reason I think that is because they have no depth anywhere. Like, they are a good team. I think Gabriel gets carried by Saliba in the same way Konate does. Saliba's the best in the league, and Gabriel's okay, but he looks great next to him. No rotation at fullback. I don't rate Calafiori. No, Zinchenko's terrible, as we know. Jurriën Timber over at right back is good, but he's playing back up to Ben White, who's terrible. I don't understand that. Ben White is it's so average. It is crazy, but Arteta will continue to pick him. And then you get to people like, you talk about the attack, right? Martinelli had a shit year last year. He was terrible. Maybe he'll switch on again and be good. I can't see it. No, I just can't see it. I think Martinelli will be poor again. Saka, over on the right-hand side, is very good. Issue being, what happens if Saka gets injured? Like, who do you play there? It's Reece Nelson. Imagine challenging for the title. Like, they could have 2 injuries. If Martin Odegaard gets injured and Bukayo Saka gets injured, their front three becomes Martinelli, Havertz, and Reece Nelson. And you're going to tell me that team's going to win the league? No way. And then behind them, who do you have? They had Fabio Vieira, but then they loaned him out. So now if Odegaard gets injured, literally no one. In fact, Vieira isn't very good, but at least he is a player that exists. No one is there now if Odegaard gets injured. Who do you put there? Do you bring Havertz back and then start Jesus? But Jesus isn't very good as a striker either. Like, Havertz has been doing his best for Arsenal at striker. And if you take him away from that and stop giving him goals, I know for a fact that it's not really going to work. It's not really going to work for him. Oh, that little bastard. Anyway, first place, it's City. I mean, it's City. Come on, man. Come on. Like, you've got Arsenal behind them. Saka and Odegaard get injured. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if Arsenal finish about 4th. But, we're assuming that doesn't happen. They still don't win the league. As City win the league again, they've got Haaland, who's got 4 goals in 2 games. So, I mean, he's getting the golden boot again, isn't he? How do you beat a team with a striker that scores 40 goals in a year? How? They've got the best defence in the league with Stones and either Ake or Diaz. Like, play them. You've got Walker right back, Edison, who's a very good goalkeeper, and whoever the prick they play left back is. Well, I suppose it's Ake they sort of shift out there most of the time, but that's the best defence in the league. It's not Arsenal's. David Raya isn't the best goalkeeper in the league because Saliba and Gabriel work well together. Arsenal's two wing-backs are terrible. Like, the best defence in the league is City's. And you're not getting past it is the issue. And I mean, Foden's probably going to have another good year. De Bruyne is going to have another good year, although he's probably going to start slowing down. They've just got Gundogan, him back, the guy that literally is he's addicted to scoring goals in the final game of the season or near the end of games that wins City stuff. Like, he just loves doing it. Savinho looks a good buy as well. Like, I mean, City win the league, don't they? They do. They do win the league. I think top scorer Haaland. I think most clean sheets probably either Alisson or Raya again. Player of the year could be Palmer. Probably not. If Palmer has another season like last year, he'll get it. He should have got it this year, firstly. If he has another season like last year, he will get it again. He will get it. Fucking hell. Other than that, maybe Salah has an amazing year. Maybe Foden has another really good one. But yeah, there you go. I can't wait to see how wrong I am in a year's time. Because that's how this always goes. Fuck off.